This is something that kind of fell through the cracks in our
Yeah.
early days of comedy, but it's been requested a lot, is Stewart Lee, Braveheart. Don't know what to expect. We know that he's quite a controversial comedian, but I don't know.
Let's do it, man. I'm
All
here.
right.
I'm here.
Only one way to find out. Let's go. 3, 2, 1.
But I was making a number of kind of crass generalisations about Americans that I don't really believe any of them, and I did it for comic effect, and I don't understand how anyone can have a kind of generalised view about another nation or race. I certainly don't, and I think it's because I'm different to a lot of you. I'm not necessarily better, but I'm different, and I'm better, let's face it. And I think it's because I feel a little bit kind of removed from your human society, because I'm adopted. I'm an adopted man, and so I'm suspicious of notions of identity or nationhood. For example, I grew up thinking that I was English, right? But about 2 years ago, I found out that my real father is Scottish, right? Which, of course, means that I'm Scottish, because as you'll know, Scottishness is passed on through the male genes, like a disability, and it overwhelms.
He does not reflect our views.
I love
Scotland
this.
is great.
I love this, bro.
So far, so great, man.
Disability, and it overwhelms all female chromosomes, and that's why there are no Scottish women. Oh, there's no Scottish women. None here. There are men in kilts, but that's just nature trying to find its own level. And if
flood the comments with me wearing a kilt.
Bro, yes, that is one of the top comments of back in the day.
Yeah.
Find its own level. And if a Scottish man wants to breed, of course, you have to travel south of the border. Normally, you get as far as a major English railway station, get off the train, lie down in a gutter drunk, and hope some pollen lands on you. And I can say that, remember, because technically I am Scotch.
Scotch?
Yeah.
Scotch.
Genetically, if not culturally. But I think that, even though I grew up thinking I was English, I think I always knew that I was one of you, because I'd go into school Monday mornings and people would go, "Did you see the sport at the weekend, Stu? The brilliant sport that all men must like, with England winning in it. It was good, wasn't it?" And I go, "No, in fact, it filled me with feelings of revulsion and disgust." Then they go to me, "What about the rich tapestry, the tableau of English culture and history? Do you take no pleasure in that?" And I go, "No, in fact, the whole notion of English culture just makes me feel kind of mentally, physically and spiritually bereft." And they go, "What about the English language, the tongue of Shakespeare, Shelley, Blake, Churchill? Does that not stir some residual national pride in you?" And I go, "No, in fact, whenever I hear an English accent, I have to be physically sick." And I would hear my own voice answering their question, and I would start vomiting as I spoke. So as a child, I hated being English, and yet...
He knew. He knew.
I heard my own voice, and I started vomiting.
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun when we do like rugby watch-alongs when it's England and Scotland. I know that's a big rivalry there. So let's buckle up for that.
Oh, yes, for sure, man.
Be sure your notification bell is on so you know when we go live with that shit.
Spoke. So as a child, I hated being English, and yet conversely, I always harboured secret cravings for shortbread, offal, and heroin.
Okay.
Something like that. You know, deep fried heroin if I could get it. With sauce. Heroin supper, $2.95. But so I think I always knew Glasgow. Can hardly believe this is happening. I always knew that I was a Scotch man, and so I always knew. But Scottish. Thank you for correcting me.
Scotch
sorry.
man.
You know,
yeah, no Scotch tape needed here.
I was a Scotch man.
Yeah.
But Scottish. Thank you for correcting me. Sorry. It was an error I made on purpose for comic effect, and I'm glad that there's so little trust in me in the room that people are going, "He's a fucking idiot. He doesn't know. He's insane. What's he talking about? He hasn't done the most basic research." But even despite that, I always knew that I was Scottish in my heart, in my brave heart. I always knew that I was. Okay, shout out if you've seen the film Braveheart. You've all seen it. Shout out. Okay, now you'll know more than any other audience I've played in the last 3 weeks that Braveheart is the shittest film ever made, right? It was directed by the reactionary Catholic bigot Mel Gibson, and it's full of basic fundamental historical errors which insult your race and mine by association, right? Here's just 3 off the top of my head. Firstly, William Wallace, Braveheart, your national hero, he wasn't some, noble savage living in a mud hut. We all know that. He was a privileged, educated nobleman, right? Secondly, it's not mentioned by Mel Gibson in the film, but there's some evidence to suggest that he actually fought as a mercenary for the English as a teenager. That's conveniently missed out. Thirdly, that French princess, he's supposed to have sex with this French princess in the film, you remember? And the implication is that he gets her pregnant and she marries Edward II of England, so it's his kid. Now, she was a real historical figure, that French princess. But at the time of the death of William Wallace, Braveheart, your national hero, she was only 4 years old. Now, Glasgow, I'm not saying that William Wallace, Braveheart, your national hero, didn't have sex with her. He probably did. If I look at my own personal background, there's a lot of sexual opportunism involved in it. But
this is why you get facts right, movie directors, which, it's not going to make a good movie though.
That's why I avoid talking about Braveheart to any Scottish person that I've met either online or in person.
Oh, God. There's that little factoid. She would have been 4. Okay. That's
somebody caption that.
Yeah.
Capture contest.
There you go.
Not saying he didn't have sex, he probably did, but if he did, and he definitely did, right? It would have been a far less romantic scene than the one enacted by Mel Gibson in the film Braveheart. It may have happened in a tent, but it would still have been not a romantic scene, because that would have made William Wallace, Braveheart, your national hero, a paedophile. A Scottish paedophile. The worst kind of paedophile there is.
Oh my God!
Coming at you through a bothy, with shortbread on its face, muttering unintelligible sexual threats in a frankly incomprehensible dialect. But another weird thing about that film is, in it, fine, leave at this point. It gets worse. A man leaving there to go away and think about the idea of a paedophile Braveheart in the privacy of the toilet cubicle. But it's not the way. The other weird thing about that film is that, in it, if you remember, Mel Gibson makes a big deal about the fact that Edward II, the English prince, was gay, right? As if not only did he oppress the Scots, but he did it in a kind of a gay way. Which makes it worse. But the irony is, again, it's not mentioned in the film, that William Wallace, Braveheart, your national hero himself, was actually gay. And no, he was, sir. And we know this from some information that's come to light in the last couple of years. Firstly, about 2 years ago, they found a cache of love letters hidden in a nook at at Glamis Castle or somewhere. And the letters were exchanged between William Wallace and Robert the Bruce, and they were full of declarations. They were full of declarations of love and details of their sexual encounters, very vigorous sexual encounters that they had. But that's one thing. Then about a year ago, they found some graffiti on a wall, on an old Scottish wall, on the wall. On the wall of a broch, actually, which is the Broch of Gurness, which is a real place in the Orkneys. They found it there, and it said the graffiti, which is real and existed. It said, "I am a gay." Signed William Wallace. Braveheart, and the Braveheart bit was in inverted commas, so they knew that meant it was real. It was like a fun nickname, you know, it's like real. So William Wallace, Braveheart, our national hero, was gay. And when I was talking about this in Edinburgh in the summer, people were going, well, why didn't we know about that? You know, and the reason is because the graffiti and the letters were written in Gaelic, so it wasn't translated. And people are going, well, why wasn't it translated? That's just the ancient language of our nation, of the Scots. Why wasn't it translated? But it wasn't. What Gaelic actually was a very kind of highly evolved form of medieval Scottish homosexual patois. And the clue's in the name, if you look at it, right? Gaelic, that means gay, homosexual gay, and then lich is language or tongue. So Gaelic is literally the language of gays. And, you know, I was booed off at the assembly rooms for saying this in Edinburgh, but it's true, and I don't think I think it's really great that our national hero, William Wallace, was gay, because Scotland's always been a much more progressive, liberally minded, and kind of a nation that's not afraid to show its feminine side. And I think that compared to England, which is a very backward, kind of bigoted place, and I think that it's really good that as we enter the 21st century, one of your national folk heroes can embody a kind of progressive notion of sexual identity. I think that's a really brilliant thing, and I wish that some of the English folk heroes, like King Alfred or Robin Hood or King Arthur, had been gay, but they weren't. And it's only William Wallace, Braveheart, the Scottish one, that definitely was gay. And of course another... Sorry? Someone said Robin Hood was surely, and someone there saying Men in Tights, but of course the Men in Tights edition to the Robin Hood legend was made in the 1980s by Mel Brooks. The facility to make those kind of tights didn't exist in medieval England. If it had have done, maybe they would have worn them. I'm sure that a thin dernier tight is an ideal garment for medieval combat, offering as it does no protection whatsoever to the human leg. But of course, the other major inaccuracy about that film, of course, is in the Middle Ages there was no such country as Scotland. Scotland was actually invented, as you all know, in 1911 by the McGowan Sweet Company as a way of marketing Highland toffee. Because, of course, traditionally we think toffee's better if it's manufactured at a high altitude.
Well, that's gonna stir up some...
This is giving me Jonathan History vibes.
Yeah.
This is giving me Jonathan History vibes, which is by far one of my favorite videos we've ever checked out. Still to this day.
Yeah.
After the 1.5 thousand videos we've checked out, that's still one of my favorites.
That's a throwback right there. But man, I just know that this had to stir some people up.
Better.
Like, culturally. Oh. Yeah.
Man, like, that was yes.
Yeah. That's Mel Gibson. What do you expect? with the historical inaccuracies.
Yeah. Yep. It's Braveheart.
Yeah.
Still a great film. Still a great film.
Just don't show it as a historically accurate thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that was great.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, man. If y'all want more Stewart Lee, comment it down below.
Yes, for sure.
Yep. And thank you for watching. Subscribe. Watch another video. Thanks, channel members, for your support. What now, Dan?
Unplug and do something legendary, guys.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Later.